For the Pittsburgh Steelers, training camp is currently underway as they are present in Heinz Field with fans finally and thankfully back in attendance for practices. And there's a lot of stuff to look forward to, man. There will be scuffles. There will be competition. There will be a lot of screaming from Mike Tomlin, I'm sure. But there will be a lot to look forward to in terms of training camp position battles. Us as SteelTwins will just discuss just a few of them. But, man, it's going to be interesting to watch, especially with the Hall of Fame game coming up in 1 week from today.
Against Dallas. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait. And you can damn well bet when it comes to training camp, there will be a lot of competition battles. So without further ado, let's get into it.
All right, we're going to start off with a pretty obvious one, the one I'm sure everyone's looking most forward to when it comes to training camp battles, and that is center. Who will be the starting center? Is it going to be third-round rookie Kendrick Green, or will it be veteran and previous experience Steeler Bj Finney? Now, side note, I know J.C. Hasenauer was the starter in the initial depth chart that was released a week ago, but that's the initial depth chart. That doesn't really mean much, so he might be included in the battle, but let's be real, he doesn't really stand much of a chance at center. It'll be between Green and Finney primarily. It's going to be an interesting battle specifically because Green, man, you know, coming out of college, I believe he only had 4 career starts at center. So he's still a little inexperienced there, and he has big shoes to fill, not only wearing the same number as the guy he's replacing, but filling in for the guy altogether is, I'd say, a lot of pressure for Kendrick Green.
Oh, no doubt, man. Maurkice Pouncey was unlike anybody other when it came to the offensive line for the Steelers for the past decade. So it's not going to be easy to fill his shoes.
No.
It won't be at all. But, you know, I'm sure he's going to be up to the task. So is Bj Finney. The competition, I'm sure, is going to be pretty hectic. I mean, both of them have been wanting to get a shot to be a starter. Bj Finney for a while, especially when he was with the Steelers beforehand. He was a nice hand, a nice versatile piece when it came to center and guard. There were times when people got hurt at guard, he obviously stepped in, and even when Pouncey got hurt or suspended, he obviously stepped in. So Finney has experience there, and I honestly would not be surprised because of his previous relationship with us and how he is with Ben and the team and the coaches. I wouldn't be surprised if come week 1 he were to start because he's a veteran, and maybe depending on how they do in training camp, maybe Green's not ready, but I still wouldn't sleep on Kendrick Green potentially starting.
Not at all, especially since he's going to be the starter for the Hall of Fame game at center.
Yeah.
That will be the case. He will be starting during the Hall of Fame game. That'll be very interesting to watch for sure, especially, you know, with the pads coming on this week. That's going to really speak a lot about a lot of these players. They look good without the pad. Now the pads are coming on. Let's see what they're truly made of. Green is one of those guys we're going to look forward to watching. He's a nasty lineman. He has a lot of drive, a lot of force at center. For a guy his size, he is undersized for center, but don't let that distract you from the fact, man, this guy has a motor to him.
Yeah, he's a mauler.
So
he's not a guy to play around with.
Right. So when you look at it on paper, a third-round rookie, Kendrick Green, versus Bj Finney, a backup at best. It doesn't look great on paper, especially filling in for a future Hall of Famer in Maurkice Pouncey. Doesn't look great on paper, but the great thing about training camp battles altogether is it makes each individual all that much better and drives them to get that starting job. Yeah, it's going to be something to watch for. It's definitely the most important position to watch for. So is nickel corner, the starting nickel corner. Now, the two main players that have a shot at replacing Mike Hilton is Antoine Brooks Jr., who was a 6th-round rookie last year out of Maryland. He will be the starter for the Hall of Fame game as well. He'll be getting the start in the slot. And the backup, playing second-team reps, is Arthur Mallett. Now, I'm going to throw his name in here as well, Shakur Brown. After the draft, we made a prediction that Shakur Brown was going to be the starter, the day 1 starter at nickel. Looking at it now with Brooks and Mallett getting reps over him, the chances of that is a little more slim, especially with Brooks impressing with the pads on even still, and Millette is a veteran there as well. He has that versatility. So Shakur Brown's more looking at trying to get a roster spot rather than a starting job.
Right.
But Antoine Brooks, man, when it comes to the nickel position and the Mike Hilton role that you got to replace, especially in Butler's system, you got to be good in the run, you got to be able to blitz, and you got to be decent in coverage, man. And Brooks fits that to a T.
Yeah, he does.
He was making plays in minicamp. He was making plays before the pads came on, still doing so with pads on. So that's crazy to think, man. If Brooks were to maintain that starting role heading into the regular season, we're going to have 4 starters from the draft class last year. And we didn't have a first-round pick.
No, we did not. And that's crazy to think about. If you don't count Minkah Fitzpatrick as our first-round pick, it's just crazy.
That is insane.
It is.
And I think Brooks has the capability of maintaining that job. You know, he was very limited last year. Saw some time when Hayden got hurt, and he filled in the Cameron Sutton role when Sutton had to move outside alongside Steven Nelson. And then, of course, Hilton stayed in the slot. But Brooks had to take over that Sutton role alongside Hilton as a dime package guy and did pretty solid.
Yeah.
And very limited reps.
Yeah, nothing flashy, nothing major, but it's nice to see something out of this guy.
But it's also good to note he got his feet wet in his rookie year. Now he has some shoes to fill in the slot as the starting nickel guy. I think he's capable of doing it, man. I think that's one of the reasons why we drafted him is because we knew he was a hybrid guy. We knew he was physical. He's damn good in the running game. You know, that's one of his strong suits. His one strong aspect is he's really good in the rushing attack.
Yeah.
Which, obviously, when you're in the slot, you need to be able to blitz and got to be a fearless tackle. And that's something Brooks holds. But I'm not going to sleep on Millette either because not only is he embracing the culture and his stay in Pittsburgh, but even so, you know, he keeps driving himself to be better. He even did that when he was with the Jets, when he saw some time with the Jets.
Yeah, and even when he was with the Jets, and we all know how the Jets were last year, even when he was with the Jets, you know, he was actually, I'd say, one of the diamonds in the rough. You know, he's one of the guys that were able to make some plays on that defense. So Arthur Millette is another sleeper to potentially start in the nickel corner. A nice, versatile, veteran guy that could potentially be a factor in the slot.
Yeah, for sure. So that's one thing to look out for. Definitely, it's a nickel job. I don't know what they're going to do when it comes to the preseason. Maybe they start Brooks, the Hall of Fame game, and then in the first official preseason game, they'll have Millette start over, and maybe they'll take turns having them start over specific games, depending on what they do in training camp. One position definitely to watch out for as we try to replace Mike Hilton.
And another position that is definitely something to keep an eye on come training camp, especially when it comes to the offense, is the quarterback position. I'm talking about the number 3 quarterback spot. Who's going to win it this year? Is it going to be Joshua Dobbs? Is it going to be Dwayne Haskins? Now, I know a lot of Steelers fans have been rooting for Dwayne Haskins. Me and Dan are one of them. We are hoping that Dwayne Haskins can get his career, his life back on board, considering how he was with the football team. You know, his confidence wasn't there. He had off-field issues. You know, it's something that was not good for his young career because we saw how he was in Ohio State. He was a very, very talented player. He appeared to be the best quarterback in that draft class. You know, we all thought he was going to go to the Giants, but the Giants took Daniel Jones, and we saw the football team take Haskins. But
they had to at that point.
Yeah, because they had no other quarterback.
But that doesn't mean they wanted to.
No.
Because even when, again, Ron Rivera came into town the year after they selected Haskins. Ron Rivera didn't want Haskins. So why would Haskins want to be with them? So you can see why his confidence, his morale wasn't up top.
His mentality, it wasn't there. So why is he going to have the mentality in a place where they didn't want him?
Yeah, so it's an odd situation. So when the football team released him and then the Pittsburgh Steelers picked him up this past offseason, you know, Tomlin was a main driving force in Haskins coming to Pittsburgh, and that seems to be a continued thing when it comes to these free agents. Haskins and Melvin Ingram, are 2 prime examples of why they come to Pittsburgh is because of Mike Tomlin. And there's no better team to give Haskins a second chance than the Pittsburgh Steelers because Ben is going to be our starter. They have Mason Essen number 2. That's confirmed, and he will be under contract leading into the 2022 season. So, like it or not, Mason will have the chance to be a starter. Haskins, his main focus is to make the roster.
Yeah.
Now, if he doesn't, he could always make the practice squad. Granted, there's a chance he could be stolen, but if he were to make the 53, most likely he'd do nothing but redshirt. And honestly, that's exactly what he needs. He needs to, continue to learn, continue to marinate as an NFL quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, no doubt. I mean, he needs to.
I think in terms of quarterback and arm talent, Haskins is leagues better than Dobbs. Dobbs he's not a throwing quarterback.
No.
He's exactly what, Canada would use in his system. As a read option, as a quarterback read, as a I guess a wildcat type guy.
Right. A guy that can drive down the field, that can move the chains with his feet.
Yes.
When it comes to Dobbs compared to Haskins and that trait, Dobbs is better when it comes to
Haskins isn't a mobile quarterback.
No, but Haskins has the better arm. So that's what's going to make it even more interesting come training camp when it comes to this battle.
Yes.
So, I mean, we'll see what happens. When it comes to preseason, I assume they're going to do the same with
what we just mentioned about Brooks and Millette.
Yeah.
Who's going to get the start here or there when Ben has his days off in training camp? When Mason gets first team reps, who's going to get the second team reps? Are they going to take turns with Haskins or Dobbs, or are they going to lean towards one other guy? That depends on what these guys do on the field come preseason. And in the Hall of Fame game, we're really going to look forward to seeing Haskins because we know what to expect from Dobbs at this point. He's been with the team for how many years now? He's been in the league for 4 or 5 years at this point.
Right.
We're going to be more looking forward towards Haskins, seeing how he's improved as a quarterback, how he's done in our system. See what the potential he could still have, which hopefully, fingers crossed, there is still some. Because, again, we hope and are rooting for Haskins because we want to see him live up to that first-round potential and it honestly make life after Ben a hell of a lot easier.
Right. We're not saying he's the heir to Ben. We don't even know who could potentially be the heir to Ben.
I can't even say if that man's on the roster. I can't say that yet.
Right, but
because I don't know.
But we are rooting for this guy to get his career back on
track.
Yeah, back on foot. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's definitely one to look forward to when it comes to the offense. Another one is the number 3 tight end position. We got Ebron, we got Frymuth as 1 and 2. Who's going to be number 3? Is it going to be Zach Gentry or is it going to be Kevin Raider? Now, in previous videos, we've said we're going to give the edge to Raider just due to he's a little more further along than Gentry is, and he's a much better asset on special teams. If you were to go back and watch that Week 17 game versus Cleveland, Raider pops out immediately on special teams. He made a few good plays there.
He did.
And that is probably what's going to save him here and make the 53 as a potential number 3 tight end. Now, in our 53-man roster prediction, we actually only had 2, which is Ebron and Frymuth, with Derek Watt possibly being flexed out as a number 3.
Yeah, and quite frankly, maybe that's all we need because we know how Eric Ebron is. He has some flashes here and there. But Frymuth, I've been hearing a lot of great things from Frymuth when it comes to camp.
Yes.
He's impressing Matt Canada a lot. Every pass thrown his way, he's catching it. He's making a lot of plays come training camp, and I'm hoping he can do more when the pads come on.
Yeah, but I think primarily this year we're going to look forward to seeing what he can do in a blocking standpoint.
Yeah, of course.
At least for this year. Work on that because we know what he's like as a vertical threat. In terms of number 3 tight end, man, I can still see the Steelers using or keeping 3 tight ends as insurance, as backup, because it's necessary.
It is.
And Gentry and Raider are the 2 top guys to possibly win that battle. Gentry, man, we got him from Michigan due to the Antonio Brown trade we made with the Raiders. We got him with one of those picks. And, he's tall. He's a tower.
Yeah, he's like 6'8". He's got great size, but I kind of feel like with that size, he's very limited.
Very limited. Very limited. He doesn't show much in a blocking aspect or even a receiving aspect.
No, he's got great size, but he doesn't really do much with it. He's a very limited type of prospect.
And Raider's been on the roster for, I'd say, a few years now, and he keeps building his way up through each preseason, through each training camp. And again, if you go back to the Week 17 game, he made his mark on special teams. That's what's going to save him here. But his progression compared to Gentry's also might push him to win that number 3 tight end battle.
Right.
So we're gonna toss that one out there as well. And finally, guys, of course, starting punter, Jordan Berry or Presley Harvin III, thick boy. We all know Jordan Berry.
Yep. I mean, he's been with the team for quite some time. He's been a decent punter, but not a consistent punter.
No, in fact, last year was his best year, but that was after he got cut to keep Dustin Colquitt. But when Colquitt started to show his age, we brought Berry back because we needed to.
Yeah.
And yeah, he kind of got better due to it, but this is much more competition towards Barry because Harvin, man, he is one-of-a-kind punter.
Yeah. Well, first of all, he's a thick boy.
He's due to his size.
He's a big guy. He's a big guy. But, man, does he got a foot?
Yes, he does.
He's got a foot.
He's got some hang time. He's got a foot, man.
I think he's got a more consistent foot.
Very accurate as well. And, of course, he can throw fakes. So he has more to offer than Barry does in that aspect. Just due to Harvin being a lot more consistent and being a little more flashy.
Yeah.
So that's one thing to watch out for definitely is the punt crew, which I'm sure we're going to see a lot when it comes to the preseason. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Harvin can do in a punting aspect just to see, especially the hang time. I want to see how much hang time he can get, how much farther he can kick, how much accurate. Maybe we can pin some guys deep in their own end zone, or how much quicker the guys can get down the field due to Harvin's hang time. So that's one thing to watch out for definitely is starting punter because that is a crucial need.
Now, I feel like it's a very underrated position when it comes to this team because I can't remember the last time we even had a very consistent punter. I really cannot tell you.
Me neither. And it's kind of hurt us because, especially Barry, his inconsistency has put us in bad positions. It's put our defense in bad positions. Now thankfully, the defense is
great, top 5, arguably top 3. They can do what they can do. But imagine if our punting or our punter was a lot better. Imagine where the defense would
be positioned on the field. They can make plays, man. They can even help the offense a lot because if Harvin or even Barry, maybe because, again, the great thing about training camp battles is these guys make each other better and drive these guys to win the job.
Exactly.
If these guys can punt the ball down the field and pin the opposing offense deep in their end zone, and if our defense can continuously get 3-and-outs or pin them close to the end zone,
or get some turnovers, that could benefit our offense a lot.
Because that puts us in great field position.
It does.
So imagine that.
Yeah, so punter is a very underrated but crucial position when it comes to this team, or any NFL team in general. So I'm really excited to see how these two do when it comes to training camp and preseason.
Yes.
I really am.
As well. And I think we're going to give an honorable mention as well. As you guys know, Vince Williams surprisingly retired.
Out of nowhere, out of the blue.
Literally, like an RKO last week. Out of the blue, out of nowhere.
And it's crazy because obviously we cut him to save money.
And then he signs for a cheaper deal.
Very cheaper deal.
But on the day of reporting to training camp, right before the first day of practice, he retires. It's like his body just wasn't ready for the NFL season. He had to give the Steelers his word, his notice.
Yeah,
right then and there.
The Steelers did not know anything about this. They found out when Vince Williams told them.
Yes.
And it was a very shocking moment when we heard about it on Twitter.
Yeah, seriously.
But it is what it is, and Vince Williams, thanks for what you could do in the black and gold.
Yeah,
dude.
definitely. He was not flashy, but very dominant.
No, he wasn't a great player by any means. He wasn't a number one either when Shazier went down and we were struggling with inside linebacker.
No, he was
before
always
Devin Bush came in.
He was always a great number 2. And speaking of number 2, Spillane is now our number 2. I think he, especially seeing what he did last year when he stepped in for Bush and stepped in alongside Williams, he showed that potential. Again, built very similar to Vince Williams. He built his way through special teams and is now going to be our number 2.
Yeah, we'll see how Robert Spillane can do in a much bigger role.
Yes,
much more,
especially alongside Bush. That's going to be fun to watch come the regular season and even in preseason and training camp, of course. But
that leaves a spot for the number 3 inside linebacker position.
Now, is it going to be given to Marcus Allen? Is it going to be given to Ulysses Gilbert III or 4th-round rookie Buddy Johnson?
That's going to be an interesting battle to watch as well. Just an honorable mention to throw in there. 3 guys that are talented. They have potential, especially Buddy Johnson to me.
They're all very athletic, too. Note that, man. They are very athletic. They have potential to be pretty flashy guys. Marcus Allen, when he finally moved back to inside linebacker, which was his best spot, you could see him break out in that true potential. Now, his ceiling's pretty limited, but as a number 3, that's pretty good, especially as a sub-package dime linebacker.
Yeah.
Buddy Johnson, man, speedy guy, damn good in the rushing attack, could work in coverage. So we'll see how far along he's come as a rookie when it comes to training camp. And Gilbert, man, I've always liked Gilbert. Very speedy, very athletic, very good in coverage, especially in previous preseasons we've seen. His only issue is he can't stay healthy. He's had 2 straight back injuries. That's not good.
And for a young player like him, and talent that he possesses, that's not good at all.
No, so if he can stay healthy, I think he can definitely flash out some potential for sure.
But it is an interesting, camp battle to definitely keep an eye on and look forward to.
Yeah, because, some of these guys will come in for rotations for Spillane.
They have the type of, talent and play style that you would need an inside linebacker in the NFL these days.
Oh, absolutely.
In today's NFL.
All these guys possess that. So
you need someone athletic, speedy, strong, talented.
I'd like to see Buddy Johnson become that number 3 guy. I don't know if he will, just due to the fact he's a rookie and they're going to want to keep him on special teams. But, we'll see. Let's know your guys' thoughts down below, man. And if you guys have any other position battles, training camp battles that you have in mind, please put them down below, man. Steelers football is officially back. Training camp is underway. They are present at Heinz Field. Fans are back in attendance. The pads are on. And in 1 week's time, man, we will be able to watch preseason football once again with the Hall of Fame game as we honor Troy Polamalu, Bill Cowher, Donnie Shell, and Alan Faneca. It's going to be a fun week.
It's going to be a fun weekend, man. I'm excited. I can't wait.
It's going to be a fun preseason.
I can't
See
wait,
what
man.
all these guys are made of. Let us know your guys' thoughts and some position battles down below. And see you guys in the next one.
Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you later.
Peace!